Hello everybody and welcome back to the Barrett channel. It's myself, Ollie, today. I'm going to be talking about the situation in Hong Kong and the rising tension of the sort of conflict that's going on between mainland and Hong Kong, and as well as sort of the big story at the moment, which is about the strike that might happen today. So before I do that, I just want to give a quick shout out to the woman who's singing out there. She's absolutely going for it. But before I do that, I just want to give an enormous thank you, as always, to the people who are just everybody who's continuing to support and watch our videos, as well as the people who go the extra mile to support us via the things that are popping up on the screen here. As our videos are being demonetized, anything to do that's a little bit controversial really goes a long way. So thank you very much. Okay, so straight into it. I'm just going to highlight the story a bit, give you a context. So over the past few days, Hong Kong have actually had a few suspected cases confirmed of the coronavirus. I think it's up to 15 cases that are confirmed now in Hong Kong. Again, over the past few days, there's been a pledge, there's been a petition for medical professionals to actually take a strike, which they said would be beginning today on Monday, February the 3rd. I'll go into sort of a bit how I feel about that a little bit later on. But yeah, I've watched several videos about locals talking, who are basically saying that the 3,000 medical professionals, it was actually going to, the strike was actually going to start off with the non-emergency staff, and then if their requirements weren't met, which was they're telling the government that they want to completely close off the borders between mainland China and Hong Kong. All 15 checkpoints, they demand that they be closed, which obviously is an enormous decision to make for the executives that are in charge of making that decision. So it's not one that's going to be taken lightly. But anyway, that's the protesters' requests, and they do say that if they aren't met, once the non-emergency staff go on to strike, then they will proceed with that pledge and take all emergency staff out of operation, and they all will be going on strike. With the rise of suspected cases and likely to be many more confirmed cases in Hong Kong over the coming days and weeks, this is going to be an immense problem, you know, and I think it's quite upsetting, really, because obviously the recent conflict between mainland and Hong Kong, I think that the Hong Kongers are having a bit of xenophobia about the mainlanders, to be honest, and they're not taking into account the economics behind making a decision that is so, you know, such a huge decision to make. So I do have some sympathy for the people who are in charge of it, because they are obviously aware of the complications that this could and the effect that this could have on Hong Kong. As I've said, the request from the people who are pledging on that petition is to close all 15 checkpoints between mainland China and Hong Kong by Monday, February the 3rd, which is today. They want complete border control. They want complete isolation of their city to sort of help prevent, they say, is to help prevent the spread of the virus, which is a little bit contradictory, as I am going to go on to mention. Other countries like Japan, the USA and Australia have imposed restrictions on entry for mainland citizens to also sort of help international spread of the virus. The contradictory point about this is that Hong Kongers had no problem gathering in enormous groups to demonstrate and protest on the street about the sort of conflict that's been going on about the extradition law over the past few months, which I'm sure you will have heard about. So if they are wanting to shut the borders to prevent the spread, but then they're still willing to go out in huge groups and demonstrate, I think that's massively contradictory, and this is what makes me feel that it's much more than just trying to prevent the spread of the virus. I think it is xenophobia. There's an increasing distaste for mainland citizens in Hong Kong. I've even read a few articles that have stated that there's now yellow shops that don't sort of serve mainland customers. Anyone who only speaks Mandarin, they're not allowed to go into these so-called yellow shops, which I think is just absolutely disgusting. In a time like this, in what could potentially become a pandemic, I think we should just all put our political biases aside and just work together as one to sort of overcome what could be a worldwide disaster. This is something that we just need to work together and sort of prevent the spread, and forget about just distaste towards other nations. It's not right, in my opinion, at all, and it's really disheartening to see. I think the average citizen in Hong Kong who is demanding these requests that all borders be shut, they don't quite understand the economics behind what sort of a disaster that could be for the economy in Hong Kong and mainland China. So when the World Health Organization are coming out and saying that, and quote, I'm looking at my book here, there is no reason for measures that unnecessarily interfere with travel and trade. The World Health Organization doesn't recommend limiting trade and movement, which is completely opposite to what the people in Hong Kong are demanding of the government. So when you've got such a well-established organization saying that they shouldn't be shutting borders worldwide to interfere with trade, then why would the Hong Kong government do so? It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to do that at this point, because you go on sort of the advice from the recognized organizations that only makes sense, in my opinion anyway. So yeah, as I mentioned, very, very high tension in Hong Kong at the moment. I actually watched an interview with a nurse that works in a hospital in Hong Kong, and they've already said that there's not enough resources, there's not enough staff to deal with all the people that are coming into the hospitals for illnesses and suspected cases. A lot of people are having to sit in crowded wards waiting hours and hours to get seen, which of course all the people that haven't got the virus already are putting themselves at greater risk of catching it and spreading it further. 90 plus nurses have already taken sick leave ahead of the strike that's going to take place in sort of protest of the strike. So there's already massively reduced staff and resources, which is obviously causing a massive problem, and a further strike is just going to devastate the situation in Hong Kong. So personally, I'm really hoping that Carrie Lam, the chief executive, is able to make the right decision and sort of calm down the situation in Hong Kong, and hopefully this situation can be resolved. I will be keeping a close eye on the news over the next few hours and days anyway, because the first stage of the strike was actually supposed to be happening today. So whether that's happened or not yet, I'm not too sure, but I'll pop down in the comments or give you sort of an update to further the information on that one. That does bring me to the end of this video anyway. As always, I hope you enjoyed it, and please smash a thumbs up if you did, as well as if you do like the content on our channel in general, please subscribe and drop the bells so you get notifications of new uploads. And stay safe during this time, wear masks whenever you can, take the necessary precautions as always. I wish you all very well, take care, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.